Hi traders and welcome to the daily recap show for today, which is Thursday the 9th of December. Apologies, there was no recap show yesterday. It was my twin's second birthday, so we had other arrangements. But back today for today's session, so let's have a look at the report from this morning and see how that transpired into the price action. So this morning on the FTSE, we said we was in a tight range, balancing just below the 73.95 to 74.05 main resistance. We had actually held the 73.73 to 73.81 zone as resistance yesterday, but the main resistance is still the 73.95 to 4.05, which we need to clear. We then said if we got a sustained break below 73.15 to 73.25, we could see a pullback, and with the ball still firmly in control, we should look to the main support at 71.86 to 97. So let's have a look and see how that played out today. Okay, so the FTSE opened up here and we did push down, so we showed some relative weakness, but we're still just in this, it's really sort of no man's land. There was some levels around this sort of 73.33 to 42 area, but nothing really clear-cut or high probability, and there's no real price action here to suggest any proper reversals or real high probability setups. We then came down to this 73.15 to 73.25 zone, which we had as the support which we needed to break. And as you can see, we did hold this as support on the first test. Now, there isn't really a proper signal here that I would have looked to have got long on, but that was an area that you could have looked for support, and as you can see, we'd actually just moved to the other zone and held that as resistance. So if you had got long from this area, if you had strategies which managed to get you long, you want to be targeting that zone, or at least managing your risk and taking risk off the table when you get to this zone. We then showed that we had this as resistance, and as you can see, we never really got the sustained break below 73.15 to 73.25 for the rest of the session. So again, not really too much in terms of high probability setups. We did, once we broke through here, we broke through the zone here. Not really impulsively, but we did break through it. And then as we retested it, you can see we held it as resistance here, here, and here. So the zone has worked in terms of support, broke through, turned resistance. Nothing really impulsive, nothing really high probability though. But that zone obviously was key for today's session, and hopefully we can get some action overnight heading into tomorrow's session where the picture may be a little bit clearer. If we're opening below this zone, then we may look to see this as resistance in the morning for a bit of a deeper retracement back to those sort of 71.86 to 71.97 levels. We really need to see the overnight action. If we can gain back above this zone and then probably back above this 73.33 to 42 zone, then again we're probably looking bullish and looking to make an attempt on those post-COVID highs. But let's see what the action says overnight, and we'll review that in the morning's notes. Okay, so onto the DAX, and we said similar that we're balancing around the 15.825 to 15.850 resistance zone, and breaks above there could see moves higher. But if we've got sustained breaks below 15.680 to 700, then we could see deeper retracement. We still had a bullish bias, and support came in around 15.570 to 15.585, with stronger support at 15.450 to 475. So let's go and have a look at today's action on the DAX. Okay, so we got a nice push down here at the open through this zone. Now, I just want to show you something. This is something that's very important to note. Some really good training for the DAX. So you can see this morning, the Bollinger Bands were really tightening up. Now, when this happens, I tend to like to look for false breaks, because if you get the Bollinger Bands tightening like that, generally speaking, the first move, the first breakout, is that liquidity grab that we talk about so often, and you can often then see the reversal, or at least see some sort of fight back from the other side. So with that in mind, obviously we're overall bullish. We had this as a strong support area, and that was what I was looking for this morning. And I just want to show you the trade that I took, and show you what happened, because it's a good lesson to show that even though I know what the market is doing, sometimes I don't think there was anything wrong with the trade I took. It was a losing trade, but there I can see the reasons why it also lost. So let's analyze that as well, because I think it's really good training. But it's, like I say, I just wanted to point that when these Bollinger Bands are tightening, you often do see some form of false break and a reaction from that. Okay, so as I say, because the Bollinger Bands were tightening, I was aware that there could be a false break on the open, and I obviously knew this was my support zone, and I was also looking for that liquidity grab. So the area that I had the overnight lows at 15,693, and if I look back at the 1 minute chart, we can quite clearly see that the swing lows here, this is where a lot of stops I felt could possibly be, and that's why we got the push below the level, got the liquidity grab, closed back above, and that's the trade that I took. So I went long there, and this was actually a losing trade. So you can see it just clicked us in, hit the 8 moving average, and then come down. So this was a losing trade, and I sort of was aware of what could potentially happen. So I'll just show you that signal there. That's the false break signal. I just want to show you why I can see why it lost and why it then eventually worked as well. You can see what we done. It was actually a false break of the zone, and then we came up and we had a nice reaction. We didn't get the reversal like we can often see, but we did get enough of a reaction for a false break to get a decent trade out of it. But this was the initial push, and I just want to put on some other levels that I look at. So this red line is a previous day's close, and we'd tagged that in that setup as well, so I felt that that was another reason why this was okay. But we just have this blue line here, which was actually yesterday's traded low. And you can see that actually that was the level that it wanted to take out where the majority of the stops were, and then it wanted to reverse. So the idea was right in that I was looking for that false break signal. I was maybe a little bit aggressive with my entry, and as you know from plenty of these recaps that I do, often that could have gone on and worked, and that would have been absolutely fine. But in this instance, there was that other level there that it just wanted to take out as well. So even though I know this is going to happen, sometimes it still happens to me. You know, that's part and parcel of trading. You've got your trade plan, you identify your trade plan, and you have to stick with it. If it sets up as per your trade plan, you stick with it, and you know over time that the edge is there. Now, even though this trade lost, I was aware that this was another level that I looked at that it could potentially want to take out. So I was on the 3 minute time frame as well. I trade on a 1 minute and a 3 minute time frame, and as you can see here, this trade, we had this impulsive candle through, closed down, and then this candle was closing up. Now, about 5 or 10 seconds before this candle closed, this candle was actually up on its highs, and I had an order ready to enter the trade if it finished back above that overnight low. I didn't want to take an entry into that level, but I wanted a strong close back above that level. If that had happened, I would have taken this trade and I would have recouped my initial loss because there was a 1-to-1 target there. However, it didn't quite set up how I wanted it to, so I didn't take the trade. Obviously it did work, but that's not the point. The point is that it didn't set up as per my rules, it didn't set up as per my trade plan, therefore I didn't take the trade. So I had a losing trade this morning. I don't think there's anything wrong with the trade that I took. It set up as per my plan, I took it. You can see the reason why. It's the same thing that I talk about every day. So I think that's a little bit of good training for you guys, just to see what I'm looking at and know that it doesn't always work. You can even when it works, you can't always nail the entry. But anyway, back to the price action. So we held this as support on that false break, and then we balanced around, and as you can see, we then got this impulsive break through that level. So we got that sustained break. We didn't quite make it down to this 570 to 585 support zone that I felt could have acted as support. We've chopped around this 630 to 650 zone. That hasn't really acted that cleanly today, so I'm guessing that will have to be changed tomorrow, but it wasn't really clean zone anyway, so I wouldn't have been looking for trades around there. What I would use this zone for is if I had got short on a breakdown of this trade, and you could have maybe got short here from this breakdown of this structure. Then I would be looking to risk manage at that zone rather than maybe take a trade from there. But we have broken down below there. The other thing that I would have done is if we had pulled back here, had a deeper retracement here. Excuse me. If this had continued back to this area, I would have looked for a reversal signal here. Or if this move here maybe had moved back, again, I could have maybe looked for a reversal signal in this area here, because we'd acted as support before. It was a key zone, and below there we'd had a decisive, impulsive move through, so a corrective pullback. That was a potential opportunity for an area for a short, but we didn't quite see that, so we'll have to have a look again tomorrow. So guys, okay, bit of a long one, but I hope there's some information in there that you can find useful, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Cheers, guys.